Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stat Pearson. And today I'm joined by the Wakandan ambassador to the United States military who watches the wall, a one Michael Dat Hill.
The one and only.
And I'm joined by an old-time legend from the podcast. He's a little bit under the weather, but don't worry, I will adjust his audio where necessary. Give it up for the tallest man to grace the podcast. You know him and love him. It's Haven. All right, so just before we go into this, Haven, since I know it's been a while for you, we're going to let you go last with the topics. Hill, you're going to go first, and I'll go second. Topic 1. Star Wars movie trilogy made by the Game of Thrones directors D.B. Weiss crew have been canceled. Also, the prequel series has now been canceled. Excuse me. The prequel Game of Thrones series that they were in charge of has now been canceled. Why do you think this is happening? Did Kathleen Kennedy do something to it, or has their shared reputation been burned off? You know, due to the last season and how it was handled. A lot of people still mad about that. Topic 2. Marvel animated movie What If has no known synopsis. All we know is that it's alternate story take on an unknown event from the Marvel catalog. My question is, what event do you want to see? I'll be fixing those typos later. And topic 3. Sony literally has only 2 characters in the Spider-Man pantheon that have been profitable on screen. Do you think there's any other character that can carry a franchise besides those 2 in the live action format that can pull in a crowd? Topic 4. Which company in the game industry do you think has the best and worst stories for their games? Remember, it's not the best game, but who writes the best stories? Or the worst, if you ain't got a best. Topic 5. With the encroaching of VR gaming around the corner, the resurgence of the popularity of simulation games may come back. With that being said, if a piano teaching simulator or flight simulation system is made for the VR accessories, would the simulation of a real-world thing still be considered a form of gaming, or should it be viewed as just a simulation instead of a gaming situation? Especially since there's not a winner or a loser type situation going on. And topic 6. Yes, we normally don't go this far, but hey, a lot of stuff happened this week. Next season, we'll see the return of Phantasy Star. Next quarter, we'll see the return of Phantasy Star Online 2 franchise to the American market on almost all systems, but primarily the Microsoft line. The name may carry weight with the love of old school lovers of RPG, but newer generations have little to no exposure to it because of it being relegated to Sony handhelds in more recent years. With that said, what do you think Sega needs to do to be able to make the Western release of a 6-year-old MMO like PSO2 successful and doesn't flop? All right, Mike, you go ahead whilst I correct typos.
Number 1, the loss of prequel series and other Star Wars related topics thanks to writers who fucked up Game of Thrones. Probably just because that they wrote a bad story on the uncompleted books, and then just like everybody got mad at that because we all heard the bell, but clearly Eris didn't. But it's not the point. But it's just like already having bad publicity and just how everything just kind of felt sloppy towards the end of their run. They don't want to change Star Wars even more than they already have, from I guess a fan perspective, because people didn't really like the prequels that much. And then 9 and 10, I think, or 8, I don't know, whatever the newer Star Wars movies numbers are. Some people weren't too big of a fan of it, so they're just like, let's not drag this down even more. 2, the movie animated of a different turnout of what could turn out to be. Let's so many different events in Marvel that happened that could have turned out different if different things happen. Hey, let's make an animated movie about if Killmonger fucking beat T'Challa. That'd be sick. see how Wakanda would handle with a completely different ruler, with somebody saying we're gonna fuck up everybody because they can't stop us. And if we were trying to go for the broad picture, what if fucking they failed twice against Thanos? What then? What do then? Somebody to carry the mantles or Spider-Man. I don't know, hard to say. Because I can't think of any actors that would be able to do it. I mean, if you want to take the individual stories from some of the characters from Into the Spider-Verse, that'd be cool because I know for sure their popularity spiked with all the different Spider people that were created over the years. So we try to take the Asian kid who had like a spider robot. I'd love to have a fucking gamer more time about her.
Yo, here's what tripped me out. Y'all, you know who plays the voice for Noir Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, everybody can identify fucking.
Oh my fucking god! Like I thought it was Nicolas Cage. I thought it was good old Nikki C, but I'm not even joking. I wanted to really. I didn't want him to fuck it up, but I thought he was gonna do some awkward shit because a lot of people in Hollywood say he chooses awkward things to do when he acts, and he didn't. Everything he did fit his character. The only problem I had is that they turned him into some old school 1930s style boxer pugilist style of fighting. I'm like, come on, man, you in black and white and you a fucking spider in a trench coat. That wasted opportunity combat wise. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, those would be cool people to see. Industry with the best storyline, probably Sony and Nintendo, because I've always enjoyed the infamous storyline and the Force Awakens with the whole you can be good and bad, and then it doesn't punish you for being either or, because it's like with fucking other games like fucking Until, that makes you feel bad, like you killed everybody, you are a bad person, blah, and fucking the fucking Force Unleash, and then fucking Infamous, like so what? You could kill everybody, nobody can stop you. You have sick ass powers. You don't feel any guilt about the choices you have made at this time.
Have you seen The Boys?
I have not.
You basically just described the entire show.
Alright. Then Nintendo, whether it just be a simple family fun experience of just running right all the way to get to the tower to get the princess on harder difficulty, or actually having games like fucking Bayonetta and shit, because like they do great games and just really know how to expand in a way I want to play a game where you can make a game long, but you don't have to make every single individual task long. Fuck. And if they do make a task long, they make it replayable, like riding Epona and fucking Ocarina of Time. Everybody wants to go back and do that again. Hell, everybody likes riding a fucking horse in the Legend of Zelda game. It's like the most thing I did in fucking Breath of the Wild, try to tame more horses.
Did you get Ganondorf's horse?
No, I did not.
That thing is scary, bro. It's almost the size of a Linel. Its mane is orange. It's only in one location on the map. But in order to tame it, you kind of sort of have to cheat because the level of effort you have to put into staying on its back, you would need to eat the stamina food for and get like 2 extra rings. Holy shit.
Nice. Game industry with bad storyline, probably Bungie, because
Damn. He just came out and said it.
yeah, fuck that storyline, dude. They don't know what the fuck they want to do. From doing a simple, alright, go to this fucking story quest, kill everybody, but now you gotta do a quest step and kill a bunch of enemies with a specific weapon you probably don't have or have a good enough life for. So now you gotta go back into your storage or your fucking collection menu to get the hand cannon you need. They kill 50 specific enemies in a specific location to go do another quest that for now you need to get energy weapon kills that are specifically arc when most of your good weapons are void, and they just make this shit so fucking long for no goddamn reason. Holy shit, man. I can understand wanting to have different steps just to make sure people won't fly by it, but god damn. Shit, Warframe did this better. Like, every time they said you need to do something, get the fucking Arcwing. Oh, you can't buy the Arcwing? Well, then go do these quests to build the Arcwing. Granted, you didn't have to wait a day, but you can still rank up your fucking tenants. It's like, okay, there's no downside to this. I don't have to fucking go back to the ship or rechange everything and then go back. And fucking need to do stealth kills. Just put on fucking, I think it's called Loki. I don't remember if I played Warframe in a minute. You just turn invisible and undo all the fucking nodes. Bungie want to be like, oh, we gotta do, for getting halfway through the quest, you gotta do 50 objectives before you can even get 10%. And I'm like, why? God damn it, why? In terms of VR gaming, and if this counts as a game or a simulation game, it hasn't really changed to me. I see you trying to fly up, I don't know. I guess it has to depend on the version of your VR simulation. Like, if they really want you to sit in a cockpit and dial down and fucking do whatever the fuck you do in a simulation. Because our uncle had a flight simulator beforehand. I'm like, okay.
Oh shit, that's kind of cool.
Because I have an idea of like what you're talking about, actually sitting in the cockpit, turning all the dials. Accelerating, decelerating, all that other shit. But it'd be different if it's like you're already flying the plane. You can do whatever you want. The VR. So I guess that makes the difference between VR simulation and VR simulation game. Or you have more freedom to do whatever you want. Like say you're flying the plane, the VR simulation game, you just jump out the cockpit. And you just free fall. Granted, that will look terrifying in VR. But you could do that instead of flying around for 2 hours trying to get to Vegas. And the piano one, I don't see it being a game unless they do what they did with like Beat Saber.
So would you say that those simulations are games, or they're more like some type of new thing?
It's kind of like it was split down the middle because they changed one variable about it and it can flip on either side of the fence. So kind of a new thing, kind of isn't. Just depends on how they implement the VR. Because if you just want them to play the piano or to fly a plane regularly, and it's just a simulation. But you want to make it a game, they're actually taking people in the plane, and it's like, oh no, this crazy thing happened that you just select on a bar, or turbulence, a tornado, a bunch of fucking ducks hit the plane or something, and then piano, just like big white tiles, or that one app game where it's like it has the piano music, and I like playing it. And then topic 6, Phantasy Star Online 2. How did I make it flop?
Specifically in America, because technically it didn't flop in Japan, but the primary reason is just because of, hey, come buy these outfits.
Yeah, I guess that's a different thing, because they gotta reapply themselves to a Western audience, and then a Western audience would rather have you show off your weapons more than your cosmetics, because your cosmetics are cool and all, but it's not as bad as going into shit 2 and seeing somebody completely naked. Nobody would do that here. At least I want to believe that. Or they do it here, but it wouldn't be as prominent, because then there'd just be VR chat too, and I really don't want that. So kind of keep back all their cosmetics and focus more on combat and gameplay. also really, really help people understand the higher level mechanics, because trying to explain to somebody that your Tokyo ticket won't stay there forever, so you better use it. And then, even though it says you need to be, it's very hard at level 75. I assure you, if you play the game properly, you can destroy them. And also really help somebody focus on a tree. Yeah, excuse me. Really help them focus on building their skill tree, because this is not your classic MMO skill tree where it's just like attack, strength, intellect. It ties into specific skills you would have to execute in a certain way in order to do that. Like, if you do it fucking just guard as Photon, you can not only get your counter stacks up, but you can also refill your energy gauge and shit like that. So it's just like, there's so much more into this game than I think most people are familiar with in an MMO.
Okay. All right. Well, it's my turn. Also, just to clarify, because I know that last one is very, very specific, especially to me and Hill. But Haven, Phantasy Star Online 2 is an action MMO. It's free and it's coming to America. But you know, that's why. So you don't have to answer that one if you don't want to, or you don't really know shit about it. It's up to you. But yeah, let me go and get my shit done. All right, so my reasoning or belief as far as why the DB Weiss led Star Wars trilogy was canceled was I don't think it was due to a contractual dispute. I feel like besides Kathleen Kennedy put down some guidelines that they were wrestling with and they didn't want to fuck with, and she wouldn't budge, or she didn't have time to see if she could meet what they wanted, because they sound friendly online, but you know, this is Kathleen we're talking about. So anytime she's involved, we always know there's an element of bullshit. But for the time being, the Weisses, yeah, I don't know. They haven't really done anything other than, you know, make their fans mad, but they've been pretty upfront with how they do their business and whatnot. So I think that maybe they wanted something changed. Kathleen either didn't want to approve it or wanted to fuck around. But by the time she, you know, tried to come back with some type of alternative agreement, they had to go and do other things. Because despite how we feel about the final season of Game of Thrones, it was a big boost to their career, and people were looking at them as early as season 4 to do other things, you know? So I think that's what it was. Alternatively, because, you know, this could go either way, it could have also been that Kathleen was trying to throw her weight with what she wanted done, which that's what she does. And what would have happened is, whatchamacallit, literally, she said, hey, you're going to do things my way or no money. And they was like, okay, motherfucker, bye. Thinking that, you know, they wouldn't pass up on it. And she tried to wait them out until something else came along. Now, as far as the HBO Game of Thrones, I believe that maybe there's nothing was disclosed by HBO as to why this prequel shit wasn't happening. I think that either the Weissmen were not getting the budget that they asked for. I think it could be something as simple as just they couldn't get the budget that they wanted, or HBO wanted something specific to happen within the show that they didn't want to mess with or anything like that. Or it could be something simple as George R.R. Martin, which, you know, he's heavily involved with these shows. He said that, okay, if you're not going to do these bare minimum things I want, then no, I'm not going to allow you to have permission to use my other characters, blah, 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 blah. You know, that's how I feel about that. So we don't have enough information to go on. And every time somebody says that they know something online, it's usually just a rumor that somebody wanted to regurgitate as truth until everyone started doing it. But it doesn't make it the truth. Only the truth can be the truth. Anyways, Marvel, as far as the what if, well, I can't say Spider-Man shit because it's almost entirely in Sony's hands. as far as that would go. So I think Marvel would try to do something a lot easier. I think if Marvel does a what if, I would like to see the what if story of an animated version of what if Dark Phoenix happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the Phoenix Saga happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because, well, the event was exclusive to pretty much the intergalactic era and the mutants in relation to what characters were affected. But if the Phoenix were to happen, like in this day and age when Avengers showed up first as far as movies and stuff go, and to see them have to openly deal with it, that would be cool. Or Avengers versus X-Men. Start off with that. It's a good way to gauge interest and introduce people to new characters without having to go through a giant backstory or even origin movie. And the best part is that it will have no effect on the live action whatsoever. So anything that they wanted to plan or were planning, they don't have to worry about it getting touched on. That's the beauty of what if. I think they even said it. One of the best things about the what if section is that there's literally nothing is off limits. There's no chronological BS they have to adhere to. Not that I have anything against chronological, stories and stuff. So yeah, that's what I would like to see. I want to see Avengers plus X versus X-Men. Now, as far as topic 3, well, I hate to say it, because you can just say her name and the internet loses their shit. Spider-Gwen. They can make the alternate dimension Spider-Gwen story. It doesn't even have to be the one from the Into the Spider-Verse movie. They could make a Spider-Gwen and people would fucking love it. Spider-Gwen popularity is so underestimated by Marvel that they had a actual ending plan for the series before they even saw it reach like max profit or realize how many books they were selling or something like that. I forgot what actually happened, but it was something like Marvel underestimated the popularity and the marketability of Spider-Gwen. And that was it. And for those of you who don't know, Spider-Gwen is the nickname for Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl from an alternate dimension who is Gwen Stacy. And Gwen Stacy got all the powers and Peter Parker dies. Oh no, spoilers for an old comic that's old. Yeah, shut up. But originally, in our universe, or what's known as the 616 of Marvel, Gwen Stacy's been dead for decades upon decades upon decades, and Spider-Man accidentally killed her when he tried to grab her when she was falling off of a bridge and accidentally didn't do it right, and her neck snapped right after he caught her. Yes, it's pretty gruesome as far as Marvel deaths go, And yeah, that book's like 40 years old or something, so don't get mad at me for spoiling something that damn old. You probably wouldn't have even found out how to read it any damn way. Anyways. Okay, so I want Spider-Gwen. That would be the best possible one for me as far as with Sony. That way they could introduce the same old characters but put a spin on them or a twist. And maybe borrow some characters that are specifically alternate dimension versions from Marvel, Now, with that being said, as far as the VR stuff, I will say that, and this is with an asterisk, it's not video gaming. It is a pure and genuine simulation. However, based on what type of simulation and the way it's formatted in game, it can be viewed as a gaming simulation. For example, we'll say, not Guitar Hero, it was another one. I think it was called Rockstar Live or Rockstar 2014. There was a video game that literally was teaching you how to play guitar. And it wasn't actually a video game. It was literally guitar lessons with songs on them for you to learn. And one of the versions of that game came with a guitar, and it was made by, they made the game with the aid of guitar trainers and teachers and guitar professionals. I wouldn't call that a game necessarily. You're scored and graded, but you're not scored and graded to, go further into the game. You're scored and graded based on what the simulation says you did well in. That's the same as a flight simulator. Flight simulators, don't have unlockables or anything like that. You fly, you learn to fly, you learn the basics on how to fly. You fail or you crash, but no story is continued. There's no place to go. However, when it's a simulation based on a character within a world, like the Star Wars simulators that they're obviously going to have even more of, where you play certain characters who have like a lightsaber and shit, and you're controlling them in a VR space. That is totally a video game. It just happens to have a simulation of a lightsaber or a sword with it. So I say it's depending on what game it is, or the type of format that the simulation is in, I should say. So I think it's both, like Hill does. Now, as far as Phantasy Star Online, I was like, okay, well, first off, they're going to have to change their microtransaction system, because it's primarily leaning towards cool Japanese cartoon promotional limited time offered stuff, or unique outfits designed by the players and in-house people that we hire and third parties we hire. And it's a gamble if you get it, or a gotcha system, as some would call it. But to me, tomato, tomato. To me, tomato, tomato. It's funny. So the way I look at it, the first thing they would have to do is have a built-in version of the game that's premium and not premium, but keep it low. Like, you want to use premium in the game? Okay, give us $1 a month or like $4 a month, and you get access to premium. But since the game is free, it's a built-in option to use it. The lower they get that price, the more they could see people using it, even if it's just once. So if you get 100,000 players in your first year, 100,000 players, and we'll say 20% use premium and everybody else used it at least once or twice in that 12-month time span, yeah, that's enough money to run your servers. But also, you got to remember, we don't know if they're conjoined servers like in Japan, or they're divided based on the system. So they're going to have to basically rely heavily on Microsoft, but Microsoft is obviously going to want to do something. So I think what might happen is we end up with getting temporary outfits or special items and outfits that is awarded to the players that you have to buy or can be awarded, and Microsoft gets a cut of that money. Because even if they magically get permission for some of the material that they've brought over from Japan, anime character-wise and outfit-wise and licensing, they said that the game will start in Season 5, and the game is currently in Season 6. So if the game is in Season 6, but we start at Season 5, that means that every outfit that came beforehand, we're not going to have access to, probably unless somebody trades it to us. But we don't even know if the servers are region locked or not. We don't know anything other than we're starting at Season 5. And they won't disclose anything else other than, I think, a release date. A release window, which was spring of next year. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, yeah, to summarize, I think the best thing that they will be able to do is have a very, very low bar of entry to their premium status. You know, make sure Microsoft promotes and advertises the game, especially if it's, on the PlayStation, not the PlayStation Network, like on the Microsoft Xbox Live Store. Because remember, they do promote stuff directly in your face all the time. I think this should be some type of permanent or a banner-based promotion, because if people see free action RPG, they may jump on the bandwagon. And as far as the anime aspect, well, it's undeniable. Sega made their bed, and they pretend like, they're not lying in it. I don't know. But yeah, it is a dramatic turnoff. But the thing is that your character, at least the one you play, they're only as anime as you want them to be. So if you don't want to mess with that shit, don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. However, if you go through story mode, you will see the occasional cliche generic anime thing that happens. But again, it's an MMO. The story is actually secondary in nature. You could literally jump in the game, go through the tutorial, and just beat up whatever you feel like beating up until you're bored. Is this a WoW killer? Not in the slightest. Is it a killer of anything? Not in the slightest. It's just an action MMO that's got a really, really good history and track record, barring some few exceptions. And remember, folks, this is the progenitor of Monster Hunter. Without Phantasy Star happening, Monster Hunter may not have happened or even be in the shape that it's in. Everything's linked in the video game world, guys. Never forget that. Unless you're independent, then it's 50-50. All right, Havan, it is now your turn. You good?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, man, it's your turn. And remember, like I said, topic 6 is optional for you.
So the Star Wars and the Game of Thrones prequel. I mean, Disney is not gonna let you fuck up their baby more than they're fucking it up. So as soon as they found out that what's the Game of Thrones, the last season was trash, they were probably already in the talks about not giving these people the whole flagship in the first place. But in terms of the Games of Thrones prequel, unless, they get with R.R. Martin, I don't see how they could make prequels without, extensively searching the backgrounds of these books. So they probably were in talks for the prequel, and then what happened was R.R. Martin was like, nah, that's not not the direction I want to take it, and they just shut it down altogether. As for the Marvel animated movies synopsis and stuff, I would love to see Planet Hulk. I would love to see Planet Hulk.
They already did that.
Because the way they did the Planet Hulk through the Marvel Avengers movie, that was stupid.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Or whatever. I wanted to see the Hulk beat up the king, and even get to the part where the Hulk has a son and everything. And then then we could have done some of the Marvel dark things, like you can get we have a lot of the magic users like Thor, and see Ragnarok in a different light. Instead of them fighting what's her face, see them actually Hulk and Thor, tag teaming like the 100 Years War, like they did in the comic. And then Sony, what I think they should do with the Spider-Man verse is just, bring in, like he does it, like you do in the animes, bring in Spider-Man Unlimited, bring in Spider-Gwen. I would love to see a whole Spider Noir, little spin-off go on.
Oh, and keep it black and white too.
Yes. And I would love for them to do it the Nicolas Cage way, but there's also the Spider-Man Noir where he was really gritty and he was Wolverine, but he was Spider. Except he didn't have the claws and everything. That was a nice spin-off. The Spider-Man Noir usually is really gritty, but when they added Nicolas Cage, it became kind of silly, but it worked. Which company do I think has the best and the worst storyline? It's hands down BioWare. BioWare can put together a great story, and then you can get shit like Andromeda.
Boy, is my face tired.
Like Mass Effect 1, 2, 3. 3 they kind of fell off on 3. Great storyline. Dragon Age, great storyline. Got to Andromeda, kind of just they did lose most of their writers to Bungie in them, but I'm saying a lot of the writers seen the writing on the wall and got out of BioWare before they started making crap titles. When it comes to VR, look, I got my own VR headset, but I'm not always playing it. So, in order for me to feel like it would become a more popular thing, they gotta add more, something that would catch my attention. Because I played the hot shot or whatever, the one where you shoot it, and every time you move, the bullets move, and it stops when you stop moving.
I think it's called
Super Hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I got a VR shooting range, but I'm looking for something more engaging. Like if they were to put a Guitar Hero on there with that actually taught you how to play the guitar, I would definitely play that. Like, Guitar Hero was my shit back in it. But like, you know, they could put a Gran Turismo on there, but Gran Turismo is not really a simulation game anymore. It's more racing than it was back in the day. Back in the day, you didn't really unlock anything. You just drove a car. You feel me? And now Gran Turismo and Forza are all about unlocking cars and spending money. And I have no recollection of this PSO at all. Like, I never played it. I never knew it was a thing. So I have nothing to say on that. Besides, don't leak it to don't leak your microtransaction story progress.
Fair enough.
Because that's never a good thing. Because let's circle around back to topic one. With Disney, you know, their flagship is Star Wars now, and look what happened to EA when they tried to link their progression to microtransactions and gamble. If that happens, you're gonna see fan bases just plummet over here in the United States because they're gonna be like, wait, this guy can buy the same set of armor that I spent 30 hours grinding for. This is some bullshit.
Okay, well, normally that's our time, but like I said earlier, a lot of shit happened this week. So I'm just ask you guys this, real talk. Do y'all think BioWare is gonna die next year? Like, is BioWare's foot and ass that far in the grave, or do you think that EA is not gonna let it die just because they know that their reputation is so publicly known that if BioWare dies, people will consider it, you know, another reason to fucking hate them? Like, I don't feel personally BioWare has a soul left in it. It's just a comatose husk. I don't know. What y'all think?
So, what happened to BioWare is BioWare got sucked into that EA, we need to make money scheme. From Mass Effect 1 to 2, all the transactions that you made for those games were game DLC. Like, they had proper maps and stuff that went to the game. And then once you got to 3, they started getting you can buy this map pack, you get this gun, and then if you buy these little what are they called? They're basically like Call of Duty care packages.
Just call them loot boxes. That's what exactly what it is. It's fucking loot boxes.
And then, you know, you can buy these and make your character better. And then Andromeda came out and they brought it back. And then, you know, it started leaking into all the other BioWare titles like, what is it called? Dragon Age. Dragon Age Inquisition. If you bought this, you get this. If you buy this, you get that. If they just stick to making the storylines, because like I said, a lot of those writers started seeing the writing on the wall and they left. Like, the head guy that helped write the story for like Mass Effect 1 or 2,
Drew Carpisian.
Left when they started making Andromeda. Like, Andromeda was in the works, and then I believe Bungie was starting Destiny, and he left to go help write Destiny. And it was just like, yo, how are you gonna write a good Andromeda story when, you know, one of your lead writers is no longer in the scene? And then other people just started leaving left and right. It was just like BioWare, especially BioWare Montreal, that was like BioWare's top facility, and now we don't see any hope of them coming back unless they get new blood in there and they start writing good stories. Because if they into a corner with the money transaction, BioWare's gonna die.
Hill. Hill.
BioWare's just going downhill after broken game to the next. Rush ideas that just never go anywhere. They just really need. It's not. It's just gonna go. Can't recover from this. It's dying. And fucked up too many times. Now they reap what they sow. Now they try to plug for money, and that's gonna drag them down even worse.
Yeah. Either of you play Overwatch by chance?
I play it sometimes. I haven't played it recently.
I played it at a time.
Okay, so Overwatch 2, besides existing, supposedly has whatchamacallit, it has a story mode, a single player or a player versus environment mode, which I don't know why they just don't call it single player and like save time. But it'll still have the PvP tournament shit. And also your special effects and your characters can actually level up and gain new abilities, which first off, I thought that was going to be in the first one. That's the only reason I didn't buy the shit. I mean, it looked cool. Everyone was fucking with it. My problem was they literally said that, oh no, your character is just going to work one way all the time. I was like, this sounds like some Team Fortress shit right now. Now, I don't hate Team Fortress, but look, the game's old. They're not adding characters, special abilities. They're basically letting fans do what the fuck they want to do instead of putting, I don't know, effort into any form of a sequel or an upgrade or expansion pack. But, I mean, yeah, I think I might get it, but I don't know. If there's too much microtransaction-y shit, I'm going to check out, because it's one thing when the game is free, but first off, it's never truly free. You got to pay $60 if you get it on a console when it first comes out, always, even though they know they get most of their money through other means. And then after that, you got to pay for a premium online to play the shit. Then after that, you know, you either got to opt into buying tokens to try to get some unlockables, or you get an unlockable. Like, yeah, you guys play more than me. So when you want an unlockable, can you just buy it, or do you have to gamble for it?
So basically, what happens is every time you level up, you get a loot box. When you open that loot box, you get a 3 and I don't know how many chance of getting a coin. But also, it also gives you a chance just to unlock stuff straight away. So you get 3 or 4 drops, and it'll be like a voice line, character like clothing, or like a spray paint, and then or a pose, you know, because they do shit like that. And every time you level up, you get one of these. But also, you can buy it. Like they're like 99 cents for one, $5 for like 3 or 4, and then there's like the ridiculous amount of like 30 or 40 for like $40, and then there's like 100 for $99.
Jesus Christ.
But that's basically how it's always been. It's like, oh, you get these care packages more often in the lower levels because you're low level up, like say in one match you're like level 1 and you do really good, you can level up like 10-11 times, so you get 11 care packages. But for people like me that are in the high, like 60 and up, we get a care package probably 10-12 matches down the road. But they also added in arcade mode where they'll put up like a special match of the day, and then you win 3 times in that, and then it'll give you a care package. And then there's like the eliminations give you a care package. You win an elimination, you versus another player. But basically, if you're a higher level, in order to get care packages more often, you'd have to pay for them. Which means you can, because you can't just buy the coins outright. So you have to gamble to get coin, which also allows you to get the cosmetic item.
So you have to pray you get coins from your loot box to go and buy the cosmetic directly, or pray the cosmetic drops in the loot box.
Yes.
Oh my god, that is typical. I can't even be mad. That's typical at this point. Anyways, all right, well, that's it for now. We're definitely going to talk more on everything that happened this week. So much shit. I didn't forget about Kotaku and none of that, but you know, BlizzCon or Activision Con, whatever the fuck you want to talk about in Overwatch news, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that being said, this has been another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I will see you guys when I see you guys.